Hey everyone, welcome to Steph and Key TV. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you thought of today's video. Alright, Beverly Hills, let's get into it. Alright, so we open up in Kyle's house. It's the next day after the Erica conversation. The house is a wreck. Sutton comes down and she's like, I see dirty dishes. And Lisa Rinna's trying to make coffee. She's like, I'm just trying to look beyond the dirty dishes. There's a fly. I'm like, why did they have to zoom in on that? Gross. But they all come down. They need coffee because they're hurting from last night. Because after Erica left, they had a dance party. It was Rhythmless Nation. They like to have a good time, but no rhythm whatsoever. So the ladies sit down to enjoy their coffee. Kyle starts getting notices on her phone about updates about Tom. He was hospitalized. They're thinking did it happen now? But then they look at the article and they realize that his lawyers are trying to push for the narrative that he was hospitalized and now he's got allegedly onset starting to get dementia, and that's why he was doing the things that he was doing with mishandling people's money and stuff. So that's the narrative his lawyers are trying to put out. But we know from the documentary that Tom allegedly had been doing this, ripping those people off long before now. So who knows what's going to happen with this. It's still a mess. They're still getting updates and everything. Crystal comes over. The ladies are going to go for a bike ride. Erica then comes over. She gets a muffin and eats it after it's been sitting out with those flies. I just nobody told her. Ew. I couldn't. I was just watching no, don't eat it. The rest of the ladies. Oh, so Erica and Sutton and Kathy are not going on the bike ride. The rest of the ladies are going on the bike ride. Dorit has these sunglasses. Everybody's been frying her sunglasses because they look like the dude from X-Men. I can't remember his name, but he has these red sunglasses on because when he takes them off, he obliterates everything with his beam eyes and stuff. And it looks just like now I can't unsee it. It's a mess. So the ladies who went for a bike ride, they stop at a little shop. They get coffee and little breakfast treats and they sit down. Kathy calls Kyle and she's like, I need a straw for my shakes. So she takes little shakes, I guess, breakfast shakes and maybe protein shakes. But she calls Kyle for a straw and they were like, okay, we can get you a straw. And she's like, and chia seeds. And they're laughing her out. Kyle's like, well, I'm on a bike. I'm not in a car. And she's like, okay, but if anybody has a straw or chia seeds, I need them. And it's just this privileged life where you don't have to worry about anything. You always have somebody doing something for you. They're laughing about it. But Crystal's like, we're really just jealous. We want Kathy's life. And I agree. I agree. And Dorit says, why, you don't need to be self-sufficient. Why wouldn't you just want to be Kathy Hilton and have her life, right? I've been self-sufficient for a long time. Do I really, I don't really need it anymore. I wouldn't mind just calling up somebody and having them run and get me everything that I need. What's wrong with that? Oh, and another strange thing is, I've been watching back the old Real Housewives of Beverly Hills episodes. I'm caught up now because there was no episode last week, so I had to watch something. So I binged and now I'm on season 9. So I'm almost at the meeting point of where we are now. But the few appearances, every time we saw Kathy Hilton appear on this show in the past, she was never like this. It was and if she was like this, it was very small. She was a very serious person, cut to the point. I don't know where this person came from. Maybe it's always been there, but I'm starting to see more and more why people are this is put on. Her daughter is Paris Hilton. Very smart businesswoman, right? But she has put on this facade of being this dumb blonde for so long that's who people thought she was. But in reality, she's not like that. And I feel it's the same with Kathy Hilton. Mother, daughter, right? Kathy Hilton isn't no slouch. She knows what's up. She's been around for a very long time. She's lived a very privileged, rich, successful, wealthy life for a very long time. I highly doubt this is her all the time. This goofy, what's going on. I'm not buying it. It's fun, but I'm not buying it. So these conversations about Erica are always interesting. I'm still trying to figure out how much the women know, and they're like, are they, it's weird because like we know that this is happening back when it was really happening, like in real time, and we're watching it already knowing everything we know. But I'm still trying to figure out and like watch the women and see how much they really know, because like some of them have to know more than they're letting on. They talk about like the money situation and stuff, and how like Lisa Rinna and Crystal feel like there's no money left, and I feel like I agree. I think there's either no money left or it's hidden. Those are the only two scenarios that I can come up with. And either Erica's got some money stashed away, allegedly, or there's just nothing. They spent it all. So, I don't know. And it's also because I've been watching the old episodes. It's really hard because I was an Erica Jane fan. I really liked her in her early seasons, and now it's just, it's bizarre. It's so weird. So the ladies are back. They've decorated a Christmas tree, and now they're looking for Erica's home, because apparently she has a home that's near Kyle's place. She's on, like, Kyle mentions that Erica's on the home directory, and Erica's like, yeah, I don't know where this place is. And Kyle in her confessional is like, how do you have a home and you don't know where it is? But like, and I feel like we are judging Erica about a lot of the things that she doesn't know about, because we're scrutinizing over everything she says. It's our it's our nature to have questions and wonder. But Sutton says the same thing. Like, she said she didn't know about properties until she got a divorce. Kathy says the same thing. Like, she has a house near Kyle too that she doesn't know where it is. So like, I feel like when you're rich or super rich, uber rich, very wealthy, you probably do have homes that you don't know about, or like, especially if your husband is the one like in charge and he's running everything, there could be homes that you don't know about. And we're finding out that that's just like how some of the wealthy people live. I feel like this would never be Kyle's situation, because her and Mauricio have a very tight partnership in marriage. So she probably knows where all the properties are. I'm hoping, but you just never know. You just don't know. Like, you really don't. If you're that wealthy, you could buy stuff. You have separate accounts. You could buy stuff, have property somewhere, and your husband or your wife could never know about it, which is very creepy. Erica says she doesn't know about Tom's hospitalization. She just read about it in the article like everyone else. I don't know how much I believe that, but what can we do at this point? So the ladies are playing croquet. Kyle in her confessional says that you just assume that wealthy people are always playing croquet. I never assumed that. I've never assumed that. I know that there's wealthy people that do play croquet. The only time I have seen wealthy people play croquet was in the movie Heathers. And Heather Chandler was always red. Kyle will always be messy. She brings up the fact, okay, so then Kathy finally shows up after the ladies had finished playing croquet. And she mentions the fact that Garcelle's coming later. She's staying at the hotel because of COVID, or possibly because of one of them. And so Lisa Rinna was like, well, it could be both of us. But she says, we're in a good place now. And Kyle asks her if she's following her on Instagram again. And I'm like, girl, I know like some of us have obsessions with Instagram and getting our followers up and doing what we got to do and paying attention to it. But Kyle, like, Lord, Lisa Rinna in her confessional says she doesn't know if Garcelle is following her or not. Kyle says, I know, she's not following either one of us. She is checking. Let it go, Kyle. Let it go. Garcelle finally arrives. She's in a hazmat suit with her heels. She does the little checker thing, I guess to see if you have a fever or something, on Kyle, Rinna, and Crystal. They're having a laugh going along with it, and she's about to head to the hotel to get ready for dinner. So Garcelle stops by Crystal's room. Crystal fills her in on everything that Erica shared the previous night, and about Tom cheating, and Garcelle is like, wait a minute, because we get a flashback, the shady editors at Bravo. We get a flashback of Garcelle asking Erica about Amy cheating on Tom's part, and Erica says, not that I know of. So Garcelle was like, well, so in her confessional, she's like, why is she lying? Especially like with my background, with my cheating ass husband, she should, like, she knows about, like, I know all about the cheating stuff. Like, so why would she hide that from me? And it's just like another thing that Erica is like lying about or like revealing in. It's just, y'all, I don't know, Erica. I just don't know how she's going to recover from this, because it's just lies upon lies upon lies upon mixed stories and all of this stuff. So they all show up to Erica's room, which is like a freaking like an apartment. It looks like her hotel room is an apartment. It is huge. It's got a pool, a private pool and everything. So they all show up to her room for dinner. It's massive. They ask Crystal to start making drinks. I'm glad she's like a good sport about that, because I'd be like, hey, I'm trying to have a good time too. At least somebody could help her, but they're really like waiting at the little window waiting for their drinks while Crystal is bartending. I mean, I guess she likes it, but like somebody could at least help. Erica mentions that she had to learn how to go into a bank in the first time in 22 years. And this topic has been discussed because it's like, okay, you married Tom when you were like, what, 27, 28? There was banks back then. You had to take care of yourself back then. So obviously you knew how to bank, make checks, deposits, all of that stuff. But then Kathy Hilton also says that she doesn't know how to use a bank either. And I'm like, well, so then how old was Kathy when she became uber rich? Like, there was banks back then too before she became rich. So it's weird. I don't know how you forget, like, but I mean, it was 22 years. Kathy said the same thing. I don't know, y'all. I feel like we want to be hard on Erica because it just seems like a stupid thing to say. But look at Shannon from Real Housewives of Orange County. When her and David got a divorce, she didn't know that she had to pay water. She was calling Tamara like, I gotta pay this water bill. Like, what is... They fried her. But it's bizarre. Like, I guess, y'all, the rest of us who are not super wealthy, we know like what we got to do to take care of ourselves, right? But the super wealthy, if you've been wealthy for so long, 22 years, and somebody else is taking care of all of that, you don't even have to think about it. You could possibly forget. I will give her that. Just like y'all are giving Kathy that. Just like we had to give Shannon Medore that when she didn't know that she had to pay her water. Some of these women they don't have to think about it until they have to think about it. And then they're like, damn, now I got to think about it. Like those commoners. So Kyle lets Erica know that the house that Erica and Tom own that's close to Kyle has been sold. So then Erica's like, how could you sell the house without telling me? I'm like, girl, you didn't even know where it was. Calm down. But then Sutton starts bringing up forensic investigators where they can like deep dive into the money, find out where the offshore accounts are and all that stuff. So she's like, hire a team, find out like where the money's hidden and get you yours, girl. And I feel like, I mean, if we didn't know what we know now, I'd be like, yes, do that. That's what you need to do. You need to find those accounts. But some of us believe that the whole reason she got divorced from Tom in the first place was to hide some of those accounts. So she probably doesn't really want a forensics team, allegedly, because she probably already knows where the money is, allegedly, if it's hidden. So she doesn't want anyone snooping and trying to find it, allegedly. So, I mean, it's just such a mess. And Dorit seemed to know a lot about it as well. And I mean, with her alleged legal issues, I mean, I feel like they could all be hiding some money in some offshore accounts. Kathy wants them to all go around and use one word to describe themselves. Crystal, we get to Crystal, she can't figure out a word. I'm like, come on, Crystal. Kyle is like, what would Confucius say? And then we find out that Crystal is a descendant of Confucius, and she has the longest I'm probably butchered that, sorry. But she has the longest family tree in the world, like 76 generations. I was like, dang. But I feel like that's pretty cool, and it's another interesting fact that we're finding about Crystal. I can't wait till we go. I think they are going to China later this season. Are they? I feel like it might be a cash trip, but I hope so, because even though they've been before, I would love to go with Crystal's perspective, because I feel like that's going to be really cool and interesting. We get to Garcelle, and she says that her and Erica are similar in the fact that there's this tough outer shell, but there's like this fragile person inside. And she's not worried about Erica. She feels like she's going to land on top. Girl, we'll see. So Erica, Crystal, and Garcelle are going hiking. The rest of the ladies are going shopping. Garcelle, I don't know what she's wearing. She has this weird short bob wig with this beanie on, and people were describing her outfit as a burglar outfit. Garcelle, like, she's so hit and miss with her fashions. It's, I don't know, it's making me a little nervous. But we find out that Garcelle is the youngest of 7. My God. The majority of her family is in Miami, so she has to do a lot of like back and forth there to see family. The view from their like hiking trip, like the little spot that they're on, it's so peaceful and it looks so quiet. I mean, but it's the desert. Like, I grew up in the desert, so it's nothing that special to me, but it's just so peaceful and it looks relaxing. We head over to the ladies with their shopping trip. What is Sutton wearing? Garcelle, I feel like Sutton's starting to rub off on you. What is Garcelle's outfit today? What is Sutton ever wearing? Like, this pink question mark, scrunched up, puffy, I hope it's faux fur outfit. Kathy, what are you wearing? Oh, to have all this money and dress the way they do. Girl. But Kathy is right. Who are they trying to impress? I mean, it's just some reality show. I wouldn't be trying to impress anybody either. I would dress a little bit better though. Come on, you got the money. So Crystal, Garcelle, and Erica sit down and they're just talking about, you know, Erica and her situation. And we know Garcelle is nosy. She's going to ask all the questions that we want to know about, but nobody's going to ask. And she asked Erica, you know, about like, did you get an allowance? And Erica's like, no, I did not get an allowance. But in her confessional, she says that Tom would give her cash. Everything else was on credit cards. So, girl, you got an allowance. Like, just call a spade a spade. Like, it ain't no shame in the game. There's plenty of rich, wealthy women that get an allowance from their rich, wealthy husbands. Girl, bye. Erica is trying to claim that she was kept very far away from the legalities and all the money stuff situation. But, like, allegedly, if you saw the documentary, we saw that her name was signed on a lot of documents pertaining to money and her business, money coming from Tom to her business. I'm like, girl, like, keep the story straight. I feel like, okay, here's what it is. I feel like she's lying, possibly, because she doesn't know that this documentary is coming out later, like now, because this was shot back then. So for her, it's easier to lie and try to cover up things. But the problem she's having is that this documentary has now come out and we have seen stuff that allegedly she knew a lot more about. So now when we watch it, her lies are not making sense. And it's very hard to follow. It's not looking good, Erica. It's not. So Garcelle asks Erica, did you get a heads up about the situation? Is that why you got a divorce? Now, people who talk about body language, they will say if somebody says no, but they're nodding their head yes, that means they're lying. And that means that they're really saying yes. Erica says this. No, I did not. So she was nodding her head first. I try not to look too much into those things, but I have heard those things before. So when you see that, just right off the bat, it's just hard to like not see that and be like, girl, you're lying. You're nodding your head yes. I know you're saying no, but you're nodding your head yes. I don't know. You tell me, have you like looked into body language, those body language experts and stuff? Like watching Erica, what would you think, or how would you describe how she's answering? So Garcelle is very confused, like the rest of us, with how Erica is describing Tom, because we've seen from previous seasons that he's in what we've seen, he's nothing like Erica describes, which could easily be the truth, because we know that women who have been abused or who have dealt with even emotional abuse, they put on, a front to cover their husband's ass so they're not receiving the brunt of whatever physical or emotional abuse. So it could very easily be different, you know what I mean? But like from watching previous seasons, I told you I'm up until season 9 now. I've seen none of that. I've seen him bark at her like 2 times, and that was it. And that was like in her first season. And we haven't seen any of that. Like I haven't seen any of that since. I've never seen him be nasty or rude. But we know that he's a nasty, vicious person from what he did to these people. So he could have easily been that way to her. It's just like, we're like, Garcelle, like, really? Like, this just doesn't make any sense. Like, you've never said anything different. Like, not even a hint of anything different. And I feel like Crystal is so brand new. So she feels empathy for Erica because Erica is pulling in the dementia thing. And we know Crystal's dealt with that with her father. So, of course, she feels compassion and empathy, because why would somebody lie about that, right? Just like on OC, the Real Housewives of Orange County, why would somebody lie about cancer? And just the people, Crystal's describing like the caretakers, how they fall apart. And even if you can remember from Lisa Rinna's past, her father had dementia and he was in a home, like put in an old folks home with her mom, and her mom was having a hard time. Her mom had a stroke, like dealing with taking care of her husband. And when he passed away, her mom, like, it's just like a weight lifted off her shoulders. Her mom was very different, more vibrant, more lively as she got older, as opposed to she was declining. So I can very much understand that, how like it's very understandable that taking care of someone with dementia could like deteriorate your body. But we don't see that with Erica, right? If she's been taking care of Tom this whole time and he's been having dementia for like 3 years now, we have not seen a decline in Erica whatsoever. In fact, she's been thriving. She's been thriving. Her career has gotten better and bigger and better. We have not seen anything other than this vibrancy in Erica. So it's really hard to believe that Tom has been struggling with dementia for 3 years. So here comes the conversation with Erica revealing to Garcelle and Crystal that Tom calls her every day. She's legally not supposed to talk to him, but and she tells everybody she hasn't talked to him, but she says that he still calls her every day. Now, whether she picks up or not, maybe she picks up, doesn't say anything, or she just gets the voicemails, but she reveals this to Garcelle and Crystal. Now, apparently she didn't know that the cameras were on them, because we are seeing a faraway view. So it could be, what are those, like drones? It could be a drone shot, and maybe she didn't know that the cameras were on her. But they're still mic'd, because we can still hear them. So I don't know how she missed that. But it seemed like, apparently Erica has come out and tried to say like this was supposed to be like a private conversation off camera, even though there's cameras there. And it feels very much like they're mic'd because we can hear them so clearly. So she's revealed this, and I don't think she was supposed to. So the ladies are back at Kyle's house. Garcelle just mentions again about like what Erica told him. She's like, girl, I can't believe that you told us that Tom calls you like every day. And she's like, yeah, brushes it off. So then the rest of the ladies get back. Kathy brings in with her driver like a few bags of tacos, I think from Del Taco. It was either Del Taco or Taco Bell. If you're not from California, it's like another fast food Taco. It's got a lot of stuff going on, Del Taco. But I think it was from Del Taco. But it's a fast food chain here, and they have like all these tacos, and they start tearing them up. Well, kind of, because they don't really eat that much. And then Kyle's asking Erica, about what's going on, what's latest in development, and she's like trying to dance around it because she can't really talk about it. Then Garcelle brings up the Tom calling Erica again. She's like, if you don't mind me saying, Erica told us that Tom calls her every day. So then everybody's like shocked. And then Erica snaps and she's like, well, actually I do mind because I feel like you're betraying my trust right now. But go ahead, have your moment. Garcelle's like, well, I don't want to do it like that. And she's like, well, you got it out of me once, and now you're trying to get it out of me again. Garcelle's like, that's not my intention. And Erica's like, well, I'll tell the effing story. Tom calls me every day. I won't take his calls. But go ahead. Don't effing sugarcoat it. And whoo. Couldn't be me. It could not be me. Girl, the way you are talking to Garcelle, and Garcelle, the way you have maintained your calm, it could not be me. You cannot talk to me that way. No, never. Nah. Unless, okay, if somebody has lost someone and they are grieving, grief affects people very differently. Or pregnant women, because, I've been around some pregnant women who get very hateful. Those are the two situations where we are not fighting. But the way Erica talked to Garcelle, we need to square up. So now Erica has turned into the victim, and she's crying, like bawling, crying. And Garcelle is just like, what the F is going on? In her confessional, she's just like, she shared about Tom cheating. He's got brain damage. He drove off a cliff. Garcelle didn't say that. I added that in. But like all of this stuff. And she's like, I didn't think that you would mind me sharing this with your very close friends. Like something that you shared with me and Crystal, who are not even that close to you. And Erica says like, well, I shared a private moment on camera and possibly might. If one of you girls told me something, it doesn't mean I have to tell everybody else about it. And I felt like that was dirty. And Garcelle's like, Erica, like, come on, like, you are going into full victim mode right now, Erica. It's ridiculous. Yes, we know Garcelle is nosy, and she pries and tries to get the questions that we all want answers to as viewers. It's just, it is what it is. But the fact that you are going so low as to call her dirty, give me a break. You're being ridiculous, and you're weaponizing your tears because you have ripped people to shreds. And now because she asked you a question, now she's dirty. So Kathy's like, I don't get it. It's just a phone call. Crystal steps in and she's like, you had already gotten in the car, because Garcelle had driven in a separate car. I forgot about that. She had driven in a separate car. Crystal says, you had already gotten in the car, and Erica told me that she didn't want to talk about it anymore. So Garcelle's like, oh, okay, well, I didn't hear that because you were in a separate car. Then Dorit jumps in and is like, well, if people say things that they don't want to talk about, and then Garcelle's like, stop, like, Dorit, shut up. Just because you haven't said anything all episode and you're trying to get in your few lines here so you can get paid, shut up, Dorit. Garcelle's like, you're trying to make it seem like I did this intentionally. Crystal backs her up again and is like, no, you didn't know. You had already gotten in the car when she told me that she didn't want to talk about it anymore. But by the time we got home and you just started talking about it, it was too late. It was out there. So, like, what could Crystal do? And she didn't want to feel the wrath of Erica, Lord. But she did stick up for Garcelle because, Dorit, you're messy. I was about to say something else, but you're messy. I'm starting not to like your ass again. So Sutton in her confessional was like, what? I'm confused. Like, what did Garcelle ask that was so bad? Girl, we don't know. We don't know. So now Erica is in the bathroom crying. I've tried to be open and honest. I'm done. I've tried to be impartial about this, but like, girl, you are overreacting. You are going above and beyond. To snap at Garcelle for that question, apparently, I don't know, she's supposed to be like mad at production because apparently they told Garcelle to ask the question because she wasn't there when Erica said don't talk about it. But I mean, like, this is a show. You're on a reality show. You need to be mad at production and not Garcelle. The way you snapped at her, I would never let you snap at me like that, girl. So you're lucky you're on Beverly Hills Housewives. Maybe not so lucky because they be throwing glasses and stuff there. You were lucky it wasn't somebody else. I'm about to be done with you, Erica. I feel like I am. I feel like I'm done with you. Whew. So that wraps it up for this episode. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. Erica is tripping again. Tripping. Please like the video and subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you're in the know when I release a new video. It really, really helps our channel if you like, comment, and subscribe. And stay tuned for the next video. See you soon. Stay safe. Bye, everyone.